our topic for tonight. I will give you 6 empowering hacks to boost your self-esteem. But before that, can anyone help me? Because I cannot see the chat pretty well, but I would like to ask all of you, when you say self-esteem, what do you think about? What are your thoughts about self-esteem? Type it in the chat. Self-esteem. What are your thoughts about self-esteem? Okay, I'm seeing some answers. How good you feel about yourself, that's good. How you see yourself. To be comfortable with what you are. Thank you for that. JR said self-development. Ah, interesting. Beck says, I don't know. Okay, that's fine because we will define self-esteem tonight. Anyone else? Any idea about when you say self-esteem? What is that? What is that? Self-respect. Maya said self-respect. Connected with confidence. Yes, yes. I believe so. Mm-hmm. And Lick says, believe yourself. All right, nice, nice. So some of you pretty much have an idea of what self-esteem should look like. And so I wanted to share with you um, uh, my idea, my thoughts about self-esteem, which also comes from a very powerful book that I've read at some point. Let me show you this example. You know what this is? This is an iceberg. So in an iceberg, uh, almost 80% of the iceberg is actually submerged in water. No? So this is what people see, right? So what people see is a small chunk of iceberg, which is, by the way, very large already. But actually, when you look underwater, you will see something larger, something that is beneath the water. And this is how I want you to picture self-esteem and confidence. Confidence, or I called it pseudo. Pseudo means it's not really real. It looks real, is a confidence that people see. It's an outward projection. So for example, me right now to you, I could look confident, but I can actually fake it sometimes, right? So I can actually look confident in front of you, but deep inside me, I'm really scared and I'm thinking lots of things. Maybe I'm scared that I might say the wrong things to you guys, but you cannot see that. What you can see is that I am pretty confident, right? But really, the deeper, shall I say, source of our confidence is self-esteem, right? Which is an inward perspective of how we see ourselves. So if your self-esteem is healthy, then you will have healthy and real confidence. If your self-esteem is not that good, chances are you might fake the confidence if you need to. So that is how an analogy of self-esteem and confidence could be illustrated, right? So iceberg. Now I'm gonna talk to you about the 6 pillars of self-esteem, but I call it hacks because I'll tell you later why. And this is a book by Nathaniel Branden, and Nathaniel Branden was a really classic psychiatrist during his time. I think he did his practice during the 1970s, and he helped a lot of people. And when I saw his work, I said, wow, this is really powerful. Even when I was reading it, there are many things that I realized, hey, this is for me. I'm learning. And so hopefully, as I share with you the things that I learned from this book, maybe you'll have reflection also on how you can actually improve your self-esteem, right? So let me move on. Okay, his definition of self-esteem is this. It is the disposition to experience oneself as competent to cope with the basic challenges of life and as worthy of happiness. I know it's a mouthful. I know it's a little bit complicated. Bear with me. I will simplify that later. It is the disposition. It's basically you experiencing yourself, right? That you are competent to cope. You can face the challenges of life, the basic challenges of life. If life throws problems at you, if you have some challenges in school or at work, you see yourself as, hey, maybe I can do this. That's your experience of yourself, right? And also seeing yourself as worthy of happiness, right? So when you look at yourself, and let's say, for example, somebody gives you a gift, right? Or somebody rewards you of something, and you know you deserve it. If your self-esteem is healthy, you will say, thank you very much for giving me this award. Thank you very much for giving me this gift. If your self-esteem is not as healthy, you will say, I don't think I deserve that. I don't think I deserve this, all this award and rewards and gifts. Sometimes you say to yourself, I don't think I deserve to be happy, right? And people with very, very low self-esteem, maybe it was damaged by their relationships, maybe their past, it was damaged, their self-esteem. When you talk to them, they will tell you, I don't really deserve to be happy. In fact, when I have a relationship with another person, it's okay if they hurt me. So they have already accepted, and it's sad, right? It's sad. It's not that good, right? They have already accepted that maybe I don't deserve to be happy in life. Maybe I deserve, not really good things, and so it affects how they make decisions, right? You understand? So when they make decisions, they make decisions that would not lead to positive things, right? Even the choices of relationships that they establish, that they make. So that is how it looks like. But to summarize that definition, self-esteem is basically two things: self-efficacy and self-respect. If you see yourself that I can do this, I can face the challenges of life, I have what it takes to face the challenges of life, that is self-efficacy, right? What is self-respect? If you respect yourself enough to feel that I deserve to be happy in this life. I deserve to pursue good things, if you may, right? So far, so good. The definition of self-esteem. So far, okay. Thank you. So, okay, let me move on. Later, as we go along, you will understand it better. So this is the cycle, the self-esteem cycle, as I would say. And I say here, this is the problem. You know why this is the problem? Here's the thing. So, can I do? Oops. Okay. So think of your self-esteem as a battery, right? It's a battery. So that is how it affects how we think, how we think. And when our battery is healthy, it's full, how we think is good, right? Oops. There. Okay, I'm sorry. So how we think is good. And if our mind is good, if our self-esteem is good, it affects how we think. If how we think is good, it affects our actions, right? If our actions are good, it gives us good results. We reach our goal. And if we reach our goal, it adds to our self-esteem. And the cycle continues: high self-esteem, good thinking, good mindset, uh, good action, reach your goal, right? So it's almost that this is a simplistic way of putting it, but it's almost like that. So it's a cycle. Where does the problem lie? When you do not have healthy self-esteem to begin with, if it was damaged, if somebody hurts you, if somebody said not so good things about you, and so it depletes your battery, so it reduces self-esteem, and how we think about ourselves and how we think about what we do gets affected. What happens now is our actions are affected. Maybe at some point we might not reach our goal. And if we do not reach our goal, our achievements, then we go down. Self-esteem goes down all the more. It affects how we think about ourselves, and it affects our actions. And then because it affects our actions, we don't reach our goal again. And then until it cycles and it cycles and it depletes. What's the problem here? Because our self-esteem is dependent on our achievements, right? Our self-esteem is dependent on the things that we achieve, or the things that people say about us, or the things that we get because we are good. So that affects our self-esteem. The problem is, the reality is, we won't always win. Sometimes we lose. Sometimes people say nasty things about us. And so it affects us. So that is the problem. Because what happens is that if that happens, our self-esteem gets depleted, and then we don't get the results that we want. It becomes an unhealthy cycle. Nathaniel Branden, the author, said, since self-esteem is a consequence, a product of internally generated practice, we cannot work on self-esteem directly, neither our own nor anyone else. So if you can see here, you cannot really do anything in self-esteem because simply it's a product of our goals. So it's so hard to work on it directly. Like if you tell yourself, I want to increase my self-esteem. Okay, good luck. How do you do that? I don't know. I just want to increase it. Okay, so how do you do it? So you cannot work on self-esteem in a sense directly because self-esteem is quite dependent on the things outside of us, right? But hopefully, we can do a hack. That is why this is called a hack. A hack means we enter somewhere else so that we can change things, right? So in this case, we enter your mind. We enter your body. We do something. We fix something there so that it affects how we think about ourselves. It affects our actions, and hopefully we will achieve things. Now, even if we don't, because we are doing something inside our hearts and our minds, right? It is, at least it will still go on even if we don't achieve our goals, meaning our how we think about ourselves hopefully might not be affected with our self-esteem. In fact, hopefully it might even increase self-esteem, right? So how we do that, I will share with you 6 empowering hacks to boost your self-esteem. Are you ready? Sounds interesting to you? All right, let's do it. So, number 1, the practice of living consciously. Right? What does this mean? It's about your mind and your consciousness, right? So, what does that mean? It means that we must stop being zombies. Okay? Zombies, they don't think. All they think about is they want to eat your brains, right? So that's how zombies think. They are not really conscious about what they do, right? So they go there, they go to work, they go to school, they go out, and they repeat it over and over and over again. They are as if sleepwalking. Like they're sleeping and they're just walking. They're sleepwalking through life. And a lot of people, you will see this, that when you ask them what's going on, they are no longer aware because they're just doing the same thing over and over and over again. It's as if it's automatic. It's as if they are robots. They don't really feel conscious about what's going on, right? Yes, Beck, I love that. Consciousness, it, it's really a powerful uh, concept. In fact, there are a lot of studies about mindfulness, and the goal is to increase your consciousness about what's going on around you and in your body as well. So that is the opposite. Our mind is conscious. Conscious about what? Conscious about choosing to seek awareness and the truth. You're always seeking awareness, meaning you're always asking yourself, what's going on right now at the moment? What's going on? Okay, this person I'm talking to is already shouting. Okay, that's what's going on. Because if you are not aware, person is shouting, then you will shout back, then the person will shout back, then it's war, right? So nothing's gonna get fixed. But if you are aware, right, you are as if slowing down the things that are happening. Is there anything that I'm doing that is I need to adjust? So that's awareness, right? Okay, I am scared. I'm scared right now. That's awareness. Just being aware that, okay, I'm angry. I'm beginning to get angry. That's awareness. I'm beginning to get scared. That's awareness. I'm beginning to feel unsafe. That's awareness. If you are not aware, you won't feel that. And every day will just pass by without you noticing it, right? You will be sleepwalking through life. And another thing is you have to choose to seek the truth. What is the truth in this matter? Because sometimes, fake news, sometimes if you keep on sharing fake news, that means you're not seeking the truth. That means you're not aware of what you are consuming, right? You have to seek the truth about yourself, about your life, right? So this is what it means to be aware. Are you still seeking the truth, or are you just consuming whatever is thrown at you in the television, in the internet, in maybe Netflix or in social media? Are just mindlessly consuming it? Or are you thinking, wait a minute, is this the truth? Is this something that is helpful to me? That is that is what it means. Living consciously and seeking, your mind choosing to seek the truth. So two things that you need to be aware of, right? Awareness, be conscious of awareness and the truth. Okay, so that's hack number one. Live consciously. So far, so good. Move on to the next. I like this. I like this. The practice of self-acceptance. Look at this baby. So he just looks at himself in the mirror, right? And what does this mean? You just refuse to be an enemy of yourself. Sometimes, guys, we are ourselves' own worst critic. Sometimes the enemy is not someone, it's not another person. Sometimes the reason why we feel bad about ourselves is because we have self-criticism. We have lots of it. I call it negative self-talk. You talk to yourself and it's negative, negative. I'm stupid. I'm like this. I'm like that. And if you come to think of it, I always ask this question. If you are friends with yourself, would you hang out with yourself? Something like that, right? So the question is, are you being friends with yourself? Are you comfortable looking at yourself in the mirror without criticizing it? Are you comfortable with just being with yourself in the room and not criticizing yourself too much? Let me show you 3 levels of acceptance. Level 1 is, can you see that? Level 1, be on your side. Don't be an enemy to yourself. So that's level 1. Because sometimes it's so hard for us to see the good things in about us if we are an enemy to ourselves. Okay? Try to lessen the self-criticism. Try to silence the negative self-talk. Level 2, the willingness to experience without denial. What does this mean? If you're experiencing an emotion, if you're experiencing anger, if you're experiencing sadness, if you're experiencing a little bit of anxiety, maybe because of what's going on, allow yourself to experience it. Okay? Allow yourself. Accept yourself. Don't deny. I'm not angry. I'm not angry. But in reality, you know you're angry. I'm not envious. I'm not I'm not envious of that person. But in reality, you know you feel envy. Let me tell you this. The willingness to accept that emotion does not mean you're tolerating it. In fact, if you want to change things in your feelings, in your emotions, in your thoughts, the very first thing you need to do is to accept that it's happening. Because you cannot change anything if you don't accept it. If you keep on denying that you're angry, that you are mad every time this person walks by, every time this person talks to you, you cannot change that. It's always going to be there. Why? You keep on denying it. You're not willing to experience it without denial. That's level 2. Right? It's part of self-acceptance. And the highest form of self-acceptance is having compassion towards yourself. Sometimes, I'll give you an example. So here in the Philippines, it's very traffic, at least before the pandemic happened, right? So sometimes people are late. And some people, when another person is late, no, it's okay. Maybe he woke up late. Maybe he's quite tired. And maybe he had trouble at home. You have compassion towards the person. You try to understand where that person is coming from, right? But when you are late, you self-criticize. Because it's my fault. I'm too lazy. I'm really stupid. And all these things. And you do not have self-compassion. Trust me, it will affect your self-esteem. You're not feeling that right now. If you're saying, I'm really, Coach Boo, I'm really stupid, I don't know. I'm probably the most stupid person in the team and all of these things. It will affect your self-esteem. Why? You don't have compassion. Just because you made the mistake does not define who you are. Just because you made one mistake does not mean you're stupid. Yes, you made the mistake. You can learn from it. No problem. You can improve on it. Yes, it's still a mistake. We have to accept that it's a mistake, but that doesn't mean you are forever a mistake. That is what means to have compassion towards yourself. Clear so far? Right. So this is the second, self-acceptance, the practice of self-acceptance. By the way, did you notice the word is always practice? Because you have to practice it. It's a skill. You have to develop, right? You have to practice. Okay. Is that Christian typing some characters that I don't understand? So, okay. I will now move on to the next. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say, guys. When you accept your feelings, maybe you're angry, maybe you're mad, that is not tolerance. That does not mean you're tolerating it, right? So that's what I'm saying earlier. That doesn't mean that you're accepting, meaning you don't want to change it. No, you're accepting, in fact, because you want to understand what's going on. All right. The third one is the practice of self-responsibility. Right? There are two types of people in terms of self-responsibility. The people who have external locus of control. Okay, I know it's quite deep, but that simply means that whenever something happens to you, here's what you do. You always blame it. Oh, it's his fault. Oh, it's the government's fault. Oh, it's the fault of the dog. The dog ate my homework. It's the fault of it's the fault of the leader, because that's why I don't have anything to do with it. So what that essentially tells you is you're always a what? Victim. You're always a victim of the things, what's going on around you. Okay? Those are the first type of people, the external locus of control. And what that means is that you don't feel that anything is within your control. So you feel like you're drowning. Right? That is what it feels. And guys, this is really obvious and apparent during the pandemic season. This one, the COVID-19. You know why? Because you cannot control the spread of the virus, isn't it? You cannot control that. It can go down, it can go up, it could infect people. Sometimes scarier, it could infect people around you, or maybe our loved ones. I hope not, but you cannot control that sometimes. And if you have external locus of control, you'll feel really, really anxious. You'll feel anxiety coming up. You'll feel really, really scared. Why? Because you think like, I cannot control anything. Things are just happening. It's the fault of the government because they're not protecting us. Maybe we lack doctors. Maybe and you don't know where to go. You don't know how to solve things. Why? Because you feel like everything is just being done to you. The other part is this: internal locus of control, meaning to say you can make things happen. You are capable of making things happen, meaning to say there are some areas in your life that sure you cannot control, but for sure there are areas in your life that you can control. For example, we are talking about the pandemic. So there are areas in your life where you can say, okay, I'll be safe. I won't go out of the house, maybe, and I will drink maybe vitamins and practice good hygiene. I'll wash my hands. You're doing something. And the things that you cannot control, you cannot do anything about that. In my personal opinion, I pray about it. And when I pray about it, I lift it up to God, it's done. I cannot do anything about it anymore because what can I do about the virus, right? So I cannot control that virus, you know. So that's for me, right? So you have to acknowledge that there are things that I can control and there are things that I cannot control. And that, right? When you do that, you become responsible for the things that you can control. Now you have an area in your life that, hey, I need to do something here, right? I need to do something. I need to be responsible of this. I cannot just let things happen in this area. I have to do something. I have to steward it properly, right? So that is the practice of self-responsibility, right? Some people with low self-esteem, they feel they're always a victim, right? I'm always a victim. People do this to me. People hurt me. People hurt me. People hurt me, right? And so you're a victim. So what can you do? I don't know. I cannot do anything about it. There you go. Then they will spiral down that emotion, right? So that's how it look like. But if you have self-responsibility, you can do something about it. All right. Next, number 4, the practice of self-assertiveness. What does it say? To live authentically, to speak and act from my innermost convictions and feelings. Right. So this is me with my nice hair. Um, uh, I have wants, I have needs, I have values, right? Sometimes I want something. Sometimes I need something. Sometimes I value something, meaning it's something that is really, really important to me. What is self-assertiveness? I'm able to speak out. Okay? If I need something, if I want something, if I value something, or if my values are being hurt or being, downplayed or something like that, I have to speak up. That is the practice of assertiveness, right? So I say, excuse me, I need this to be able to perform my work, right? Can you help me get this? So sometimes people with low self-esteem or unhealthy self-esteem, they ask other people, can you tell Coach Chris that I need this? They cannot tell it. They cannot say it. Why? Because I don't know, they feel like they're shy. They're too shy to just say what they need, right? Values, an example of values. For example, um, I value I value self-development, right? So that is my value. So meaning to say, in every work that I do, I always look for how can I develop myself in this area, right? So if that is my value, and let's say a person is offering me work, I will ask that person, you know what? It is valuable to me that I learn, right? I continuously develop. So how can I learn in this job that you're giving me, right? So that is me asserting my values. Because if I don't assert my values, I will just say, okay. Okay, I'll do it. Okay, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. Yes, 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 yes. Right. So I do not tell them, hey, this is what I value. Can we do something that so that I can, I can perhaps um, get it. These values. How can we have, you know, how can we add value mutually? So that is what this means, right? However, remember you have to express appropriate forms, right? What does this mean? You don't need to shout. You don't need to put down someone in order to just express your needs. You don't need to insult someone just to express. So when you express who you are, you don't need to put down somebody. It has to be appropriate form, right? You don't need to put in Facebook maybe how much you hate somebody so that you just tell them what you want, something like that. So it's not appropriate form. So you have to understand and be responsible also how you communicate and express yourself, right? So that is self assertiveness. So understanding, what do I want? What are my needs? What are my values in life? So I have to express it, when needed, right? So okay, what is this? I have feel myself. Okay, right. Sometimes people have expectations. People put expectations on us, you know. Um, and sometimes it's people who are close to us. And sometimes that is the reason why we cannot express ourselves, or we are not confident enough to say something because I cannot say this. Why? Because I am expected to be quiet and just obey, just do it without complaining and all of that. Remember, you're not complaining. You're just expressing yourself. Hey, maybe I can have this. Because I need this to be able to do this, right? So the reason sometimes that some people cannot assert themselves is because their external expectations that affect how they think and how they feel. And so they just keep quiet, they just shut themselves up, and they never express themselves. Okay? So that's self-assertiveness. Next, and before I go to the next, anybody of you familiar who this person is, who this lady is? Who is this? Can you put in the chat box? Amazing. This is Alice in Wonderland. All right? And this is the Cheshire cat that I think he encountered this cat the first time he went to Wonderland, right? So what did he? So Alice had a conversation with this cat, right? So in Wonderland, cats can talk. Alice said, "I'm lost. What road do I take?" Right? Cat says, "Where are you going?" Alice says, "I don't know." Cat says, "Then it doesn't matter. If you don't know where you are going, any road will get you there." Right? And the next expression is taray. Okay, this is a Filipino expression. Okay, so that's basically, okay, I just repeated. Okay, this is the fifth practice. The reason why I showed you this is the practice of living purposefully. That's the fifth practice, meaning aligning our life's efforts to a goal that is bigger than ourselves. What does this mean? And why did we talk about Alice? If you have no purpose and direction in life, any road will take you there. Anything that people throws at you, any job, anything is okay. It doesn't matter. Why? You don't know where you're going. You have no direction. And this is very important to me. This is very important. Why? Because before, I did not have that direction. I did not have that clear purpose. So what happened to me before was that anywhere that I get more money, because I'm IT, right? So, anywhere that maybe I could get more money, I could get more, convenience about myself. It's more convenient to me. I just go there because it doesn't matter. I have no direction. My direction is what? My own personal fulfillment. The reason for this, you see that is bigger than ourselves. When somebody has a purpose that is bigger than themselves, for example, you have people like, if you study people like Mother Teresa, if you study people who are great leaders, right? And I think Maya would know about great leaders in the world, you will find out that these people have greater purpose. These people have purpose that is not selfish. They just don't want more money. They just don't want bigger houses. They just don't want, larger territories. What do they live for? They live for other people. They live to add value to people. And this is when you have a purpose. This is when you have a direction in life. Because if you have a direction in life, yes, Maya, I know a lot of people, they just accept whatever is thrown at them. Okay, just whatever, give me a job, give me work, whatever. Okay. And so and so this is very important, because if you don't have purpose, right, again, you will not take responsibility in any area of your life, because things happen. you know there's no reason for things happening to you if you do not have purpose. There's no reason. It's just random coincidence, maybe. And when I ask you, for example, why are you there where you are right now in your work, in your school, in your job, and you answer me, I don't know. I just applied here and I'm here. I'm in. I don't know. And if I ask you, okay, why are you doing this? I don't know. It's fun, diba? So if your reason is it's fun, maybe I don't know, meaning you have to ask yourself, so what is the direction I need in my life, right? So these are the important questions that we have to ask ourselves. And where is direction coming from, right? So for me, for example, it is because of my faith, I am able to find purpose in life. So hopefully you also, you can ask yourself this question. So how do I find direction in life? Where do I find that? Something bigger than myself. How do I do that? Right? So I believe you have coaches here that could help you through that, right? So that's part of your journey. Last but not the least, the practice of self-integrity. Super, super important. Okay? What does this mean? As a person, we have ideals, we have conviction, we have standards, we have belief. What is this? For example, I believe that I have to be honest in all my dealings, right? I do not cheat anyone, right? So that's my belief. That's my belief. That's my standard in life. Um, and it affects my actions and my behaviors, right? So even, for example, if I believe that integrity and honesty is important in life, that means, okay, I don't cheat anyone. I tell the truth to people and things like that, right? So it says there, when our behavior is congruent with our ideals, convictions, and beliefs, we have integrity. Meaning, my action is the same with what I believe in here and here, in my head and in my heart. So if I believe that I value integrity, I value honesty. So that means when I deal with people, it's honest, it's with integrity. I will not lie to you. I will not, hide from you anything. Right. That is integrity, right? So if you practice that, no problem in all areas. Where the problem lies is this. What happens sometimes is that we do that if people are watching, right? If somebody is watching, okay, I will live to I will be a good person because people are watching, right? Amy is watching. Coach Chris is watching, so I have to be a good person. But when they are gone, it's okay. I can, maybe even if I believe that I have to be kind, but if nobody's looking, I can be unkind to people. Besides, nobody's looking. What you are essentially telling yourself is the opinion of other people is bigger than your opinion of yourself. The opinion of other people's is more important than my opinion about myself, because when nobody is looking, just me and myself, it's okay to cheat. It's okay to be unkind, right? So that means my opinion about myself, it doesn't matter. The other opinion is more important. So what that what what will it make you feel? Less important, right? No wonder it will affect your self-esteem, because that what will happen is that I am not important, they are more important. Their opinions about me is more important than my opinion about myself, right? So there you go. There it damages your self-esteem, because now all of a sudden other people's opinions are higher than what you think about yourself. See? So you thought that you are shortchanging them, but actually you are fooling yourself in that sense, right? So that is what it means. Self-integrity. So to end, this is CARAPI. So I put there car because car, CAR. So consciously, right? Practice of living consciously, letter C. Practice of self-acceptance, A. Practice of self-responsibility, R. And API means self-assertiveness, living purposefully, and self-integrity. Right? So I hope you can, if you want, you can take a screenshot of this so that, you can remember. I hope you can take that home, maybe reflect on it. Where in this area could you improve on more, right? But let me end with this. This is a quote from Bronnie Ware from the book The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. Bronnie Ware interviewed people who are dying, old age. Bronnie Ware is a nurse, and she takes care of people who are about to die. There's such a thing, a specialty that is like that. And the number one regret of the dying, according to her book, is this. They say, I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. Sometimes, the reason why our self-esteem is low is because we are too concerned of what people will say instead of just reflecting and listening to ourselves. And that is the biggest problem. When other people's expectations become heavier, right, than how we think and about ourselves and our self-reflection, our self-direction, whatever, those six, for example, then that begins a problem, because now we live a life that is no longer according to the purposes that we have for our life, but according to the expectations of the people around us. And so sometimes they die with very low self-esteem because they feel like they did not become true to themselves. They feel like they live their life because of others' expectations. Let me share you with this. This is now my personal principle in life. I love how Os Guinness described it. He said, I live before the audience of one. Before others, I have nothing to prove, nothing to gain, nothing to lose. And I want to capture this statement, audience of one. So for me, nothing is more important than pleasing God for me. That is where I get my self-esteem. That is where I get my worth, my self-worth. That's that's my source. And all other things, if you think that I am really good, then that's a bonus, right? I love it. Thank you if you think that I'm really good. But for me, I only have to please one audience. And for me, for my faith, that is God, right? So, and I want to end with this. Maybe you came here today, and maybe you're thinking, am I really enough? Do I really am I really capable of the challenges of life? And um, I just want to remind you that you are enough, right? You are enough. You have what it takes inside of you, and you have been created of these talents, of these mental abilities, mental capacities to really face the challenges in life. And so you are enough. You don't need to look outside of yourself to be able to feel, to feel your self-esteem, right? So you are enough. Right? So I hope that is something valuable to you tonight. That's the end of my session. Uh, I'm open to any questions. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Coach Val, for that very inspiring talk. Now I want to open the floor for a question and answer. You can type in your questions on our chat box, or you can unmute yourself and you can practice your English and ask your questions to our speaker.
Yeah, it would be nicer to hear you. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you, Coach Val.
You're welcome.
Going once, going twice. Do we have any questions regarding the topic of self-esteem?
Maybe if you don't
Maybe.
have a question, maybe I have a question for you. Can I do that?
Go ahead.
Okay. If you don't have any question, here's my question to you. Where do you think you are having a challenge on? What is hard for you when it comes to the 6 practices? I'm flashing it now. I'm flashing it now, right? So which one of this do you have a challenge on? A big challenge. So that's my question to you. Since you don't have a question for me. So, okay.
Yenlik has a
Yen-
question. Can
Sorry, who?
meditation increase self-esteem?
Meditation. Who's that? So who asked the question? Sorry, Boo.
Yenlik.
Yenlik. Okay. Yenlik, can meditation increase self-esteem? Meditation, if done the right way, can increase self-awareness. Remember living consciously, the letter C, right? You know, if you meditate on the right things, if you meditate on the right way, you are able to increase your self-awareness of what's going on around you, what is going on inside of your heart, what is going on inside of your mind. Become aware of it, right? Hopefully, if you become aware of it, that is now your mind, hopefully through meditation. For me, it's prayer and meditating in the morning, or maybe at nighttime, depending on my schedule. But it makes my mind more conscious. So yes, indirectly, yes, it will increase your self-esteem, because if it increase your consciousness and awareness. If it does increase your awareness, yes, it will increase your self-esteem. Because some meditation, it's not effective. Like, you just, okay, what did you do there? I don't know what happened. So it's weird. No? So if it's done the right way, right? So
Thank you for that question, Yenlik.
Coach Val, I have a question.
yes,
While some others are still thinking of their questions, are there practices or activities, maybe routines you could suggest, and how we could learn to accept ourselves more? You know, like how we can maybe on a practical note, certain activities you could suggest for us.
right. I think, okay, because I watch your YouTube channel, I know that you already discussed EQ, right? You did discuss EQ before. And EQ is 4 skills: self-awareness, self-responsibility, relationship, social awareness, and relationship management, right? So those 4 things. If you actually do things uh, on self-awareness more, and then if you become aware of it, you accept what's going on, right? So that will increase your self-acceptance. Um, what you can do normally is this: when you are about to criticize yourself on something, pause, okay? Breathe for 1 minute. 1 minute. Breathe. Pause. Right? And then if you still feel to criticize yourself, go ahead, criticize yourself. But the point here is you made the pause. And every time, because we cannot, it's so hard to change something. It's super important that you make that 1 minute pause. If you are about to criticize yourself, say nasty things about yourself, 1 minute. Take that 1 minute. You can even take your phone time, 1 minute. Okay, 1 minute. Before I say and think about something. And you can do breathing, you can listen to your breath, or you can just listen to your surroundings. That's what I do normally because I'm very auditory. Sometimes I pray about it before I criticize myself. And then that's it. That's it. You know, And if you still feel like criticizing yourself, go ahead. It's part of self-acceptance also. That's how you feel. You feel like you want to criticize yourself. But the point is you make that space. You see, the reason for that 1 minute pause is you're creating a space between what you will do and what is happening. If you want to shout, for example, I'm so angry, try to make that pause. If you can't make 1 minute, maybe 30 seconds. That is practical way of self-acceptance, right? So what does that mean is when you are feeling something, don't criticize yourself right away. Make that pause. If you are feeling something, you're feeling angry, don't criticize yourself. Make that pause. Then whatever you do after that pause, that's enough. Because it's so hard to change immediately. Like I would tell you, okay, don't criticize yourself. Sometimes it's so hard, especially for people who are DISC. I know you already talk about DISC. Sometimes for people who are C, it's so hard. If you are C, if you are a little perfectionist side, so it's so hard not to criticize. My request is if you want to criticize yourself, give it a pause. Breathe.
Thank you, Coach Val. Thank you, Coach Val. That's very helpful.
Coach Val, your answers somehow related to the next question by Anita. Is it okay if you would read it?
Anita. Okay. Do you think you need to feel sorry for yourself? I have always been self-critical of myself. And I think that self-criticism is useful and helps to make a better version of yourself. That is, you strive to be better than you are. What do you think about it, or I'm wrong? Okay, Anita. Thank you. That's a very, very powerful question. Okay. Yes, you're right. If you criticize yourself, that's why I said, okay? So I said, okay, I criticize myself, meaning I did something wrong. Here's a tip for you. If you criticize yourself on something that you did, criticize the action, not yourself. Right? How do you do that? How you do that? What's a good example that is relatable? Can you give me an example when you criticize yourself? Anyone? Can anyone give me an example? When does a person criticize himself or herself? Situation. Any
No,
situation.
not exercising, eating too much.
There you go. Now let's go for not exercising because I'm also sometimes guilty of that. So, okay, not exercising. Okay, here is unhealthy self-criticism. I'm so lazy. I'm so I'm never gonna have this good healthy body because I'm just so lazy to exercise. I'm so lazy. Coach Chris, I'm so lazy. Can you help me? Because I think I'm really not that good in all these things. You see, the criticism is going towards yourself. Okay? Here's something healthy that you can tweak. Today I did not exercise. I missed exercising today. That's true. In fact, that's the truth. Remember, your mind seeks the truth. The truth is you did not exercise today. The, you are lazy is not the truth. It's your judgment on yourself, right? When you criticize, you look at what's happening, right? I did not do good in my subject today. I forgot to study today. I forgot to wake up early today, right? I think I should wake up early from now on. See, I'm somehow I'm criticizing my actions, but I'm not judging myself for it. And when you do that, you are focusing on the behavior and not judging yourself. Because if you keep judging yourself, it will affect your what? Self-esteem. Because now you are labeling yourself, I'm lazy, and maybe I'm stupid, maybe I'm not gonna pass this anymore, this test or whatever. So you're judging. If you're posing judging on yourself, be cautious about that. My advice is take a pause, breathe, and look at the situation for what it is. Sometimes it helps if you look at it as another person, right? Sometimes you are too in that situation that it's, sometimes when I do this in coaching, I ask them to give feedback to themselves as if they are another person. Okay, so if you are looking yourself at the mirror, what advice can you give yourself? Something like that. If that is your best friend who did not exercise, best friend, what will you say? Will you say you're lazy, best friend, you're lazy? All right? No, you won't hurt your best friend. But why are you hurting yourself? Right? When you criticize yourself, that is what I mean. So whatever you say to your close friends, you don't want to hurt him or her. The same way, that's the same thing that you say to yourself. I hope that made sense, Anita. It is okay to criticize the behavior. It is okay. Is it okay to accept the things that are wrong? But when you start judging yourself, that is where it might damage your self-esteem. So be cautious about that, right? Okay, Maya, in your opinion, to be a leader is the destiny or your own choice? Why a lot of people don't understand us? Please, could you say your own position? To be a leader, okay, for me, naturally, at any given point in time, people are looking at us at any given point in time. And for me, you know, when people starts to look at you and people starts to follow you, I think you are already leading. Now, to be a good leader is a different thing, right? To be a good leader worth following is a different thing. Because even if you are not leader by position, by default people will look at you. Your brothers, your younger sister, your younger brother, some of your family members, some of your friends will look at you and will imitate you. Oh, I like what you're doing. Maya, it's so nice and all that. By default, even if you're not don't have that position of leadership. And so sometimes people misunderstand leadership as a position, but by default, people are looking at us. Now, if you want to be a good leader, then that is a choice. And that becomes a choice. Because now, yes, people will follow you, but at some point, if they feel like this guy is not worth following, so that becomes a choice now. If you do not develop yourself into becoming a better leader, that is your choice. So you have to make that conscious decision. Okay, I think people are looking at me. I think people will be following me, or I want people to follow me. Then I have to be a good leader. I think that's the way I understand it, right? So yeah, I hope I answered your question.
You.
Uh, yeah, welcome, Maya. And Anelia said, what practical exercise can you advise for people who have problems with self-acceptance? Yeah, I think I said this earlier, right? So when you are about to judge yourself, when you're about to criticize yourself, take a pause. Take a pause. Understand, am I criticizing myself? Am I criticizing the situation or the behavior? My advice, criticize the behavior. See where things went wrong in the behavior, in what you did, and change your language. Your language, the words that you use, super powerful. It goes to your subconscious mind. Whatever you say to yourself, it goes in. Even if you reject it, it goes in. So super powerful. So yeah, I
I
think
think that's it.
yeah.
Um, Thank you, Coach Val, for that. We really see that there's wisdom and depth on what you've shared. Just to wrap up, I want to summarize some learnings. This is a way of recalling and processing what we have learned. we started off our talk with warm-up questions about confidence. What do you like about yourself and what you don't like about yourself? And most of us answered about pseudo-confidence, the picture that Coach Val showed us. The iceberg, we focus on the 10%. We focus on what we have achieved. We focus sometimes on what we've done. We focus on skill set, like communication or something else. But what's more important is what's inside. That is self-esteem. What people don't see about us, what we see in ourselves. So thank you, Coach Val, for reminding us that what's important is not what people see or what our achievements are, but it's about who we are inside. And thank you for those hacks. You know, I appreciate that we have to seek awareness and truth of self and life. That we should start maybe to create, not just consume. In the age of social media, we are so tempted to consume so much information, and it causes envy. We compare ourselves with so much people, and that makes our confidence, our self-esteem very low. I like what you said about you cannot change something that you don't accept and something that you don't see. The thing is, that's why we have a community like this. There are times that we don't see our problems and we cannot change ourselves because we cannot see it. It's called a blind spot. But if there are other people or a community like this, your friends especially, that can pinpoint the things that you don't see, then you can improve yourself. You know, if we would just rely on ourselves to change, it would take a long time. Experience is not the best teacher, but learning from other people's experience is the best teacher. And yeah, thank you. What else did I write here? Yeah, it would be faster to learn if we have community and friends, close friends who could mentor us. So if you can accomplish your goal by yourself, then your goal is not big enough. You mentioned that we have to practice a life of purpose. So we have to live. We have to live for something bigger than us. So thank you, Coach Val, for what you've shared to us. I hope that it would not just be on the head of each and every one, but it would in the heart, and it would be applied in the lives of everyone. Thank you for talking to our life talks. Surely you added life value in the life of people here in our community. Thank you, Coach Val. So for our announcement, Coach Ami has some announcements for us.
Yes. Once again, thank you, Coach Boo. Once again, thank you, Coach Val, for that very empowering talk. I know that we all learned something, and yeah, thank you everyone for making time, attending our live talks, and we hope to see you again in the next round of our live talks. And we are also happy to announce to you that we are opening our live talks to all of our members, English Plus members. So if you're part of our WhatsApp group, and if you have attended, next slide please, if you have attended at least 5 English Plus events in the last 3 months, then you can be part of our live talks, meaning you can speak in our live talks. And the mechanics is just simple. Can we flash the next slide? So the mechanics for our live talks will be like topics shall be given by our coaches before live talks, and then members are to prepare 5 to 7 minute speeches about the topic assigned, and members are to have one-on-one coaching with their coach before the live talks. And after your speech, you get to receive feedback from our coaches about your talk. So if you are interested, please go to tiny.cc/English Plus and do sign up there. We are going to contact you for the details, to let you know about the details. Also, please do sign up in our events. So we have game day, we have live talks, and we have language exchange. So you may sign up by going to tiny.cc/English Plus, and do follow us in Instagram, Facebook, and be part of our WhatsApp group. And also invite your friends. So
Yeah.
see you on Saturday for our game day, where we get to learn English, have fun, and build community, meaningful friendships. See you guys.
Thank you guys. Pasiba, Sel.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank
so
you.
much.
Bye. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Coach Bal.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
We
Bye.
learned a lot.
Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Thank you, Yanlik. Thank you,
Thank
Anita.
you.
Hope to see you soon in
And Beck,
person.
For
you
all.
didn't turn on your video the whole time, Beck.
We should have